Hello and welcome. As the weekend comes to an end, let's take a moment to catch up on the latest news. Here's what you need to know. The silence of the bodyguards, what the Metropolitan Police kept hidden about Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. The opulent corridors of power often conceal truths far darker than their gilded facades suggest. For years, the narrative surrounding Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, once a prominent figure in the British royal family, and his association with the convicted financier Jeffrey Epstein, has been one of unsettling questions and elusive answers. Now, a fresh wave of revelations has brought the Metropolitan Police's handling of the Epstein inquiry under intense scrutiny, particularly concerning the alleged silence of those closest to Andrew, his bodyguards. The very title of this unfolding drama, The Silence of the Bodyguards, what the Met kept hidden about Andrew and Epstein, hints at a deeper, more intricate web of power, privilege, and obscured facts. At the heart of this renewed investigation lies the questioning of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's former private secretary, Amanda Thirsk. Her involvement, particularly during a period of heightened public interest and Andrew's controversial role as a trade envoy, places her as a pivotal witness in the ongoing inquiry. Thirsk, a former banker, was a key figure during the period of Andrew's infamous Newsnight interview and his tenure as trade envoy, suggesting her unique insight into his activities and associations. The focus extends beyond her testimony to the protection officers who, by virtue of their duty, were privy to Andrew's movements and associations. These officers, part of the Specialist Protection Command, or RASP, are now being urged by the Metropolitan Police to reflect on anything they saw or heard that might be relevant to the investigation. Claims have surfaced suggesting these officers may have turned a blind eye to certain activities or visits, particularly concerning Epstein's private island, raising profound questions about whether their insights were deliberately overlooked or suppressed in earlier stages of the investigation. The suggestion that those tasked with safeguarding a royal figure might have been silenced or their testimonies dismissed paints a troubling picture of potential institutional failings, hinting at a systemic reluctance to confront uncomfortable truths within the highest echelons of British society. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor served as the UK's Special Representative for International Trade and Investment from 2001 to 2011. This position, ostensibly designed to promote British business interests globally, is now being meticulously examined for potential exploitation. Allegations suggest that this role might have provided a convenient cover for his activities, facilitating access to individuals connected to the Epstein network. During his decade-long tenure, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor travelled extensively, often accompanied by his protection detail, meeting with heads of state, business leaders, and diplomats. It is within this context that the alleged sharing of sensitive information with Jeffrey Epstein becomes particularly significant. Emails that have come to light indicate that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor appeared to share confidential material, stemming from his trade envoy duties, with Jeffrey Epstein. This alleged exchange of confidential material forms a significant part of the misconduct in public office allegations that led to Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's arrest on Thursday, February 19, 2026. He was subsequently released under investigation after more than 10 hours of questioning at Aylsham Police Station, with police conducting searches at his Sandringham residence and his former home, Royal Lodge in Great Windsor Park. The nature of the sensitive information is a critical element of the ongoing inquiry, with investigators seeking to understand if it compromised national interests or provided Epstein with undue influence, potentially leveraging state secrets for personal gain or to further Epstein's illicit enterprises. The very notion of a royal figure potentially compromising national security through such exchanges adds another layer of gravity to an already deeply disturbing narrative. The initial connection between Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and Jeffrey Epstein dates back to the late 1990s, reportedly introduced by Ghislaine Maxwell. Over the years, their association deepened, with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor visiting Epstein's various properties, including his private island in the Caribbean. These visits, often shrouded in secrecy, are now central to the Metropolitan Police's investigation into the conduct of his protection officers. The question looms large: what did these officers witness during these visits, and why, if anything untoward occurred, was it not reported or acted upon sooner? The potential for a blind eye being turned by those sworn to protect raises serious ethical and legal concerns, suggesting a possible dereliction of duty or, more disturbingly, an active suppression of information. The former head of UK Royal Protection, whose name has not been publicly released in connection with this specific statement, has reportedly stated that it is inconceivable that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's guards would not have seen anything pertinent to the investigation, given their close proximity and training. This sentiment echoes a broader public disbelief that such extensive travel and interaction could have occurred without the knowledge or suspicion of those responsible for his security. The meticulous details of these journeys, the guest lists, and the nature of the interactions are now under intense scrutiny, as investigators attempt to reconstruct a timeline of events that could shed light on the extent of complicity or negligence. The Metropolitan Police, working in conjunction with their counterparts in the United States Department of Justice, are also pursuing a critical line of inquiry, whether London airports were used to facilitate human trafficking and sexual exploitation by Epstein and his associates. This aspect of the investigation underscores the international scope and the gravity of the allegations, suggesting a coordinated effort to uncover the full extent of the criminal enterprise. The police's proactive outreach to former and serving protection officers is a clear indication of their intent to leave no stone unturned, seeking to piece together a comprehensive picture of events that may have been deliberately kept from public view. The release of millions of court documents by the United States Department of Justice has provided investigators with a wealth of new information, prompting this renewed focus on the British connections to Epstein's activities. This collaborative effort between law enforcement agencies across the Atlantic highlights the seriousness with which these allegations are now being treated, moving beyond mere speculation to a concerted effort to establish facts and assign accountability. The potential involvement of international travel hubs in such heinous crimes further complicates the investigation, requiring intricate coordination and intelligence sharing between multiple jurisdictions. The public and political reaction to these developments has been swift and significant. Members of Parliament have called for a parliamentary discussion on whether Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor should lose his potential right to inherit the throne, with some suggesting he should voluntarily relinquish his place. The Liberal Democrat leader, Ed Davey, has publicly stated that while the police must be allowed to conduct their investigation unimpeded, Parliament will need to consider the implications for the monarchy. The arrest itself, a highly unusual event for a member of the royal family, has intensified calls for greater transparency and accountability from the institution. The image of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor emerging from Aylsham Police Station, captured by Reuters photographer Phil Noble, became a stark symbol of the unfolding crisis, resonating globally and further eroding public trust. This erosion of trust is not merely directed at an individual but at the very institutions designed to uphold justice and protect the vulnerable. The public's demand for answers reflects a deeper societal concern about privilege and whether it allows certain individuals to operate above the law. The historical precedent of royal scandals, while numerous, rarely involved such direct accusations of criminal misconduct and potential institutional cover-ups, making this a uniquely challenging period for the monarchy. The broader implications of this saga extend to the very fabric of the British monarchy. King Charles III, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's brother, is reportedly deeply affected by the ongoing situation, which threatens to overshadow his reign and the stability of the royal family. The crisis has been described by some commentators as one of the most damaging for the monarchy in centuries, potentially more threatening than past controversies due to its direct challenge to the institution's integrity and the conduct of its members. The continuous emergence of new details, often from previously sealed documents, challenges earlier narratives and demands a thorough re-evaluation of past inquiries. The story is not merely about the actions of one individual but about the institutional failures that may have allowed such associations to persist and potentially thrive. As the investigation progresses, the public watches, eager for clarity and accountability, wondering what other secrets the Metropolitan Police might still be withholding, and what further truths will emerge from the shadows of this complex saga. The outcome of this investigation will undoubtedly shape perceptions of the monarchy for generations to come, testing its resilience and its capacity for reform in the face of unprecedented scrutiny. The pursuit of truth in this complex case continues, with each new piece of information adding another layer to a story that has captivated global attention. The intersection of royal privilege, international finance, and alleged criminal activity presents a compelling, if disturbing, tableau. As the Metropolitan Police and their international partners delve deeper, the hope remains that a full and transparent accounting will ultimately emerge, providing closure to victims and restoring faith in the institutions designed to protect society. The world watches, awaiting the final chapters of this extraordinary and deeply troubling narrative. This intricate narrative, rich with detail and fraught with unanswered questions, invites further exploration. What are your thoughts on the revelations surrounding Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's connections, the alleged silence of his protection officers, and the broader implications for public trust and the monarchy? Share your perspective and join the conversation below. That wraps up our news for today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend and are now ready for a productive week ahead. We encourage you to share your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section. Your input is important to us. See you tomorrow.